So far we've seen 4 games that haven't been released in the United States. Gomoku, Mahjong, Papai no Ego Asobi, and Galaxian. The thing is, nobody's really disappointed that those weren't released in the US. Devil World, on the other hand, is often pointed to as an example of Nintendo of America's heavy-handed censorship, keeping Americans from getting great games. Nintendo shying away from releasing anything that could have gotten them on the 6 o'clock news might have been the reason that Devil World wasn't released in the US, but at the same time, it's not a good game. We weren't really missing out on a Shigeru Miyamoto masterpiece here. Devil World is an example of the maze chase genre, a style of arcade games that was extremely common in the early 80s, following in the footsteps of Pac-Man. Players wandered a top-down maze trying to fill out a pattern or collect items while being pursued by enemies. Strangely enough, despite there being dozens of these games right at the time when the Famicom's popularity was booming, I can only think of 4 games that really fit the maze chase genre that got released on the platform. There's more single-screen shooters for the Famicom, and that's a genre that was on its way out at the time. Devil World brings 2 twists to the formula. First, to collect the dots in the maze, you have to be carrying a cross. So if it runs out while you're gobbling up a line, you'll have to run back and get another one. These aren't like the power pellets in Pac-Man. They're always there for you to pick up and use. The cross doubles as a weapon, letting you shoot fire at the ghosts that wander the maze. The other major feature of Devil World is the Devil. He stands at the top of the screen and directs his minions to scroll the maze around. If you're at the edge of the screen, it's possible for you to be crushed by the moving walls. Only about a quarter of the maze is accessible at any given moment. To access a lot of things, you'll have to wait until the maze scrolls. And therein lies the single biggest flaw in Devil World. The Devil's actions are totally random. Both the direction and time that's moved is randomized. So you can sit there for a long time watching dots just outside of the area that you can collect, waiting for the devil to eventually scroll back to them. It's boring waiting for a random movement to eventually take you back so that you can play again. This problem is compounded in the second level style, the Bible stages. The Bibles appear in the corner of the play area, and you have to collect them and return them to a central post. The catch is, those corners are where the greatest risk of being crushed by the maze is. And it's possible for a corner to be completely sealed off from you for an extended time. The wait's a little bit more challenging in this stage because the Bibles are what let you breathe fire to defeat the ghosts. So if there's one last Bible that you have to wait to be accessible, you won't have a way to clear the ghosts out. This is a good opportunity to talk about the central theme of Devil World. No, it's not devils or crosses. It's eggs. When you kill the ghosts, they leave an egg behind, and if you consume that egg, it takes them a little bit longer to respawn. The dinosaur you're controlling is named Tamagon, a reference to the Japanese word for egg. Your lives are referred to as eggs, and when you die you come back as an egg that you have to hatch out of once the maze is clear. The final stage style is the bonus stage. There are boxes at the edge of the screen, and one of them has a 1-up egg in it. All you can really do is grab them and take your chances. There's no devil to torment you in the bonus stage. Instead, the maze is moved by running over the arrows in it. If you die on the bonus stage, it does not decrease your life count. There are 3 different maze patterns in Devil World, and you complete each stage once in each pattern before they loop. So starting from round 4 or the 10th pattern, you're back at the first pattern again. There's one more interesting feature of Devil World to talk about: multiplayer. The 2-player mode in this one is not alternating, it's simultaneous. Unlike in Mario Bros. Though, there isn't really a way for players to interfere with each other. It's more of a direct competition for score. And that's really all there is to the gameplay of Devil World. It's an attempt to expand on Pac-Man, but those extensions to the game make it worse. Devil World did get a picture cart re-release, and it's the last of the Pulse line games to do so. Of course, the reason for that is Nintendo ends the Pulse line here. The end of the Pulse line and the introduction of third-party publishers brings a close to the first chapter of the Famicom's history. Now we're entering the Famicom boom, when everyone and their brother tries to start a game company to cash in on the fad. But that's a topic for later. I'm not totally convinced that Devil World wasn't released in the United States over religious concerns. The thing is, those censorship practices weren't really in place until late 1986, maybe early 1987, and so you often find things in early NES games that would have been prohibited later on. And they always could have just changed the crosses in Bibles. There is a NES release of Devil World, but that was in Europe. My thinking is that with limited resources for the US launch, Nintendo chose to drop anything that they considered even remotely marginal. And Devil World as a game just isn't up to Nintendo's standards.